Hi everybody, Army P here for Explorminate, and welcome back to our blind Let's Try of RimWorld. Now if you remember from last time, we had built a rudimentary structure in and around this back half of a mountain range, and it looks like we haven't done much else besides that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about your next couple steps. Now again, my experience in this is limited and my advice is probably very poor, so this is probably more of an entertainment type video than it is a tutorial. But what you're going to want to do is issue out some zones and areas, and you're going to want to choose growing areas. Now if you'll notice, looks like I've got a couple areas here that have got some really good fertile ground right in front of the entrance of my colony. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to plot 3 different areas. Probably let's go 6 by 7 here, 6 by 7 or 6 by 6, why not? And we'll do a third one down here. Now the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to plant the first one as rice, because I do believe that is the fastest one. And then I'm going to plant 2 potatoes. Right on, potatoes. So what they'll do automatically, because they're going to start working my 3 colonists, Von Schilt, Paul, and Katana. I thought that we renamed her. Could be wrong. Oh, it's her last name, that's why. It should have been Emma. And what we're going to do is we're going to start issuing out work orders. Now, the really kind of cool part about RimWorld is that you don't have to micromanage all of your different colonists. What you can do is you can click up this little work window. And what it does is it tells you what the priority is and what each of your colonists can and cannot do. So the first couple ones are firefighting, so they're going to fight fires if they see them instantaneously. And because the priority is high on the left and lower on the right, as you kind of go through all of these different columns, they will do everything from left to right in priority. So what I'm going to want someone to do is be kind of designated to become my doctor. And you notice here that I've got Von Schilt is good at being my doctor, so I'm going to keep him as my doctor. Maybe difficult to see, but in behind that little icon you can see that he's got a tiny little flame, which means that he will end up getting a bonus to the XP, and he's actually better at that particular skill. So you'll note here that we're going to be wanting to grow as you kind of go through different things: warden, animal handling, cooking, hunting, etc. Now, Katana is really good at constructing things. She's got a huge 2 flames. It's one of her many passions, as well as growing. So we're going to click on these ones that seem to make sense when it comes to their passions, because we have such a small crew. But what you're going to be able to do later on, as your colony begins to grow, is you're going to be able to micromanage and click on exactly what you want each person to do in particular. In fact, it can get so you can get organized to a point where you can actually have one of your colonists do one specific thing, like cooking, perhaps. But with 3 people, we're kind of asking everybody to do the job of 2 or 3 different people. Okay, because we're going to be starting to plant in our gardens, what we're going to want to do past that is find a place for them to actually start storing their food and being able to cook it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a tiny little refrigeration area. Well, I'm going to say build this area here and here, put a little door in there, and then that will be our food area. So what I'll go do is go back to our zones, our stockpile zone, choose our 5 by 5 square, choose storage, and then we can tell them that all we want to do is store nothing but food in that location. And this will be our location for our refrigerator, and I'll explain a little bit more as we go further into it. Now you'll notice that we've got you know, there's not much left to there's not much to say about our colony or our little indoor house. So there are things that our colonists are going to want to have to become happy. So I'm going to build them 3 little beds, and they'll be more happy at nighttime sleeping there. Additionally, and this is odd, trying to figure out why we don't have a roof. This roof hasn't been completed. Oh, there it is. Okay, Von Schildt's going for it. Perfect. He'll get to it eventually. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple lights in there, make it a nice ambiance. Why not? And this will make them more happy. Probably way more than we needed, but oh well. So you can see here automatically it looks like Paul is starting to plant the seeds, and we'll just increase the speed a little bit so this kind of carries on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start paying attention to getting them in a daily routine, including growing food and making our living arrangements much better. This stockpile, I don't want that stockpile zone here, so we're going to delete the stockpile from inside of our house and keep the stockpile there, our dumping stockpile. You see Vaughn here he's moving around and planting, and apparently he's straight up just cleaning up. So if you notice that one of your colonists is doing something that doesn't quite make any sense, so you can see Vaughn here, he's our medic. He can't really do anything but right now but clean or construct, because that's what we've got him on, kind of got him going. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to tell him to do a little bit of running around. Okay, so you can see here that as we head to the nighttime, Katana here is sleeping on the floor, and she's not going to be happy about that. So if we go to her needs, you can see here that she's the grain is good, so she's got low expectations. So that of course helps when you've crash landed on a barren planet. But she ate without a table, which is a -3. She's uncomfortable because she's been sitting around doing nothing, and she's in an ugly environment, which I'm guessing is something directly related to my terrible little house here. Now you'll notice that I can't make another bed because I don't have any more wood. That's fine and dandy, like sour candy. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw out some orders. Chop wood, and we're going to chop all of this wood so we can make our structures even more impressive. So I'm just going to increase time here so they get past their sleeping phase. And hopefully everything goes sound. Ooh, what do we got here? We got some packaged meals. Okay, so we're just going to unclick forbid onto that so that we can get going. You can notice over here, I almost got like a bit of a structure. Sandstone, eh? It's like a good point where we can expand later on and encompass that. Perfect. So it looks like as we start to collect more wood, we should be able to chop up some wood and get her done. So I'm going to take Vaughn off of growing, and hopefully he will be able to now cut plants, exactly what he's doing. So you can see here, you can kind of micromanage a little bit, but once you get your routine down and exactly what you want and what you're going to need, it makes sense, because he's of course I don't want him planting with the Paul and Katana doing it. I want to be able to get him cutting wood so we can start building our structure. Once it's in a somewhat decent spot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how electricity works very quickly. Okay. How's our steel? We got steel and components. Perfect. Okay. Get some flooring down. You can check here. Oh, looks like we get a minor break risk. Okay, so basically these colonists are in a poor mood and may have a minor mental breakdown. So if I click here, we're on Von Schild. And we're going to see what his needs are. It looks like he's in a it looks like this mood is 50-50. So the threshold, of course, being that as soon as he gets to 50% minus his mood, he has a chance of breaking down. So he ate without a table, which ticks him off. He's got a disturbed sleep. He slept in the cold because we don't have a good heater for him. He's in an ugly environment, and he's got a mediocre breaker, or barracks. So all of these things kind of come and play into effect as we start to build our colony. We have to make sure that our new colonists are happy enough that they won't have a minor meltdown. And it becomes this interesting, dynamic where you can sit there and you have to kind of balance everybody's personal mood past the survival tactics that you're going to need, which of course are food and shelter and things like that. So it's definitely interesting. So you can see here that we've got our 3 beds built. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how refrigeration works. So I'm going to go to the production area. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's power. And I'm going to build 2 solar plants. Now where should I place these? Looks like they're going to use 100 steel and 3 components. We've got lots of steel and components, so I'm not even worried about that. First things first, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build, under the power, a battery bank that will store the power generated in the solar panel. I will build 2 solar panels. And then finally what I'm going to do is under this temperature tab, I am going to build a cooler. And essentially, because I put it in this small little room, what's going to happen is this whole fridge area, this whole area is going to become my fridge. So when I start to harvest food in my 3 different crops here, I will be able to keep it relatively cold, which will not only increase the length in which my food will become before it starts to go bad, but I can actually keep it frozen. As soon as I keep it frozen, perfect. We're going to be able to basically have food in there indefinitely. So you can see here my little colonists have been moving away, building my solar panel plant. Now the reason, of course, I built a battery, just in case you don't know how solar panel work, or solar panel is supposed to work, you can see here this bar in the middle, this yellow bar. It generates power. Oh, what's going on? Why don't I have... As soon as the battery is hooked up to the solar plant, it will store the energy and then use it at night when we start to lose all of the ability to generate voltage when the sun goes down. So yeah, that's pretty much the beginning parts of it. What's going to happen is, as I start to get these guys operational and my battery bank starts to do its proper duty, which is storing electrical voltage to be used at nighttime, I'm going to be able to cool down this small little refrigeration unit, and then basically I'm going to be able to maximize as much yield as I possibly can for my crops, and that's a huge bonus. And it's something that, although talked about in the tutorial, it's not emphasized on how important it is, because when the winter comes, you're going to want to have at least 100 food down. It sounds like a lot considering I've only got 32 and I don't have any crops, but with these potatoes and these rice on the go, I think we'll be just fine. So that's kind of the generation, power generation system, the refrigeration system, and the very, very rudimentary colonies. I've started off 3 different areas for food, which is great. And what we're going to do next episode is I think I'm going to spruce up the place, and then we're going to show you a little bit more about hunting, where you can hunt different animals, use not only their meat to make food, we'll show you the cooking mechanic, and then we'll be able to show off, probably spruce up the place, and we'll see where we'll go from there. I'm not too sure where we're going to go. That'll be some of the fun things, because right around this point in the game is where I think that our AI Catherine's going to throw something our way, and who knows what it could be. It could be something small like a raider, or it could be something big like a band of travelers, or something even more crazy. Who knows? Just fast forward past our sleeping phase, and it's telling us that we need some defenses. Don't I necessarily agree with that, but we do need a metal source because we don't have very much. We have about 100 steel. Acted steel. Quite frankly, I've actually never seen that before. Let's see what we can do. So let's issue out some orders and tell them that we want this compacted steel, whatever that is. Push it past there. In the meantime, we do know that our colonists are getting a little ticked off that they don't have a table to sit on. And we don't have enough wood, so that's not good. So I'm going to tell everybody to stop mining. I'm going to go under my mining. Mr. Vaughn, I'm going to get you to cut plants. Cut plants should take over for mines. There we go. So Paul's going to kick around and start cutting down some trees because we need some more wood to build things. Looks like we've flattened out the ground a little bit. And you'll notice that, of course, our for some reason, well, this is a perfect opportunity, I guess. You'll notice that my power panels, normally what will happen is they kind of instantly link if they're really close to each other, but my solar panels are generating 1700 watts power, but they don't seem to be hooked up to my battery bank, nor to my refrigeration unit. So this is a perfect opportunity to kind of just take a look at the last part of the power, which is generating a power conduit. So it's just going to be a single power conduit done by a single piece of steel. Ironically, steel does not generate or does not conduct electricity very well. Now you'll notice as I hooked it up, you can see here the stored ability is starting to go up. At the same time, I'm going to mouse my cursor over here, as you're going to be able to see. As my cursor goes on the outside, it tells us that the indoor temperature in my pathetic little hut is 23. And on my refrigeration, it is actually a cool 11. So I'm going to make sure it gets about as cool as possible, because I want to start to be able to cool that place down as much as I possibly can. So it looks like we've gotten quite a bit of wood carrying on. So now that's the case, I think we should go back to mining. So I'm going to take... Ooh, we're going to take that one off. My medic will start mining compacted steel so we can start building some goodies. Now in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a table because everybody's ticked off at eating their rations in a bad spot. So I'm going to construct a table and I'm going to make 3 chairs. Unos, dos, tres. I'm going to make a big one just in case we run into anybody else. So now every morning when our colonist gets up, they can grab one of our ration packs. And looks like we've got something here. I'm just going to pause it for a quick second. And they're going to be able to have it sit at it and have a nice meal. So a chunk of a spacecraft has fallen by a... Oops, where did that go? Must have missed that. I could come scrolling around forever, but who knows. In the meantime, on the right hand side of the screen here, it looks like the Uberworld Enforcer from the southeastern Elysium is coming to visit our colony. Okay, let's go to that location. So, some visitors you can trade with, and others I guess you can just interact with lightly. I'd like to know what that... Now, we're going to kind of dictate how this all kind of comes to pass. I don't know if she's going to come in, or she's just going to hang out, or just walk by. Not going to do much, she's just going to walk by. Now, who's got my best social? I'm hoping someone's got it. Von Schitz does not. Do I have anybody who's social? I guess it's her, so... She's just coming by for a visit, I guess. Unfortunately, we can't do much about that. So you can see here that it's getting a little dark outside, and our battery is already starting to charge up. And we've kind of hit the second cycle of the night, so that's where we are. So you can see here that my little, you know, pathetic little colony is starting to come around. Everybody's got a safe place to sleep at night. We've got junk hanging around everywhere that we'll get rid of. I'll just put this on for, you can see here under hull things, I'm directing them to get it out of my place. And then eventually I'm going to put some flooring down, and I'm hoping that by the next episode, we should be able to start harvesting our crops, and then I'm going to show you the cooking mechanic as well as the hunting mechanic. But for the meantime, it's been rather quiet. We haven't had any major events, but that's okay because we're ill prepared to take on very much besides what we're doing right now. Okay, so this has been Army P for Explorminate, and I'll see you next time.